Third phase of Moon.
Welcome back to Third Phase of Moon. My name's Blake Cousins, and we're live right here via Blog Talk Radio, taking your calls from around the world in regards to the latest UFO sightings from around the world. We've been breaking news in regards to documents in regards to maybe 3 alien flying saucers that crashed right there in Roswell, New Mexico, and we did the update right here in Third Phase of Moon. They're talking about 3 alien bodies, 3 feet tall, wearing metallic light suits, out of all 3 different saucers. So that's 9 total. What is going on? We're trying to get the answers from Washington, D.C. and anywhere else. We sent out a memo to the FBI. We're asking, can you update us a little bit more on what they got? And we're still standing by hoping to hear from them. And we're taking calls from around the world, and we're going to go to an anonymous caller in regards to aliens and alien abductions. And he says he has some information in regards to what the alien gray agenda is up to. Can you tell us what's going on with the aliens and abductions from around the world?
I don't know if I can do that, but what I can do is voice an opinion about what the Greys are. And in my opinion, the Greys are a combination, half robot, half organic creature that has been created to work for another alien race. They are in essence drone slaves who work for the Nordic alien people, who are the beautiful, gorgeous, perfect-bodied, blonde-haired people who have been seen with the Greys from time to time. And in my opinion, the Greys are in essence their worker slaves who are carrying out an agenda with the Nordics. And as far as their collaboration, I have no idea exactly what they are doing together, but they appear to be from time to time working together on the genetic experience involving human beings and other races.
Well, you talk about the Nordics, and we compare how the gods from back in the day genetically engineered the rib man to create women, and that's how man came to be from alien intervention. So the Nordics developed the Greys as like worker bee soldiers to help them out in their agenda. We had an interview with a couple girls a couple of weeks ago, and they were saying that they were being abducted for hybrid breeding. Can you go into this a little bit more?
There's some wild ass stories out there about what's being created and all the babies and the baby factories involving the Greys and the various genetic experiments. Quite a few good books on it too. Of course, it's pretty wild stuff, and whether or not you want to believe it, that's up to you. But all I know is they appear to be a real thing, and they're quite a mystery because they're probably from another dimension. And as far as our government involvement, that may or may not be something that happened. And if it did, are the people who were involved still around? Or how about Kissinger? He's always seemed to have his big nose in affairs of such matters. And as far as presidents, those guys come and go. I don't think they're on the top of the food chain when it comes to information. It's more like military and super strong guys like Kissinger that always are at the center of attention.
Well, I know you've done a lot of research in regards to secret society and the Illuminati. Do you think the Illuminati has secrets or knowledge about extraterrestrial life visiting Earth?
Yeah, they probably do, but that's just one more group. There's plenty of groups out there that got secret knowledge. Illuminati are just one of them. How powerful they are, who knows? Maybe they're just even defunct. Maybe there's other groups that are taking over that are way more powerful than Illuminati. Illuminati started over 100 years ago, so they might be just in the wayside compared to the new Bush family crime syndicate that's taken over the American consciousness of 9/11 BS and all the death and destruction that comes with it.
Well, I really want to thank you for joining us on this show and stating your opinion. One more thing, the Illuminati, you're saying, they may be irrelevant. do you think we have to worry about what the alien agenda is in regards to the human race and our future?
No, I think the most important thing is to worry about your spiritual involvement. Nothing is more important than that. Alien agenda is just part of the scene. There's a big universe out there. It goes on forever. There's beings from all over the place. I'd say worrying about your personal spiritual agenda is the most important thing you can do in your life. Love your neighbor, like Christ said, and love God. Nothing more important.
Hey, thanks a lot for, again, joining us right here at Third Phase of Moon. Now let's go on to our next caller.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hi, yeah, I called like 2-3 a month ago. You called me by the name of Mark. That's not really my real name. Yeah, I was talking like when I was abducted, when I was like real young. I was 3 years old. And you said you wanted to get in touch with me and talk to me more about it?
Yes, Mark, yeah. Welcome back to the show. It was a very sensitive, conversation we had, and you were getting some criticism, and we apologize for that. We have open minds. People,
I've been criticized all my life on it. So
people came to your defense on Third Phase. I mean, when people share their stories here at Third Phase, we want to hear both sides, but the ridicule that you received, you had a lot of Third Phase of Moon Nights backing you up. So welcome back. Can you go back into what happened when you were 3 years old and describe in kind of detail when it first started and you realized you were being visited by aliens from another planet?
Well, I first started realizing I was seeing aliens and being abducted by them when I was like 3 years old. I'd keep telling my parents I keep seeing gray men in my window. They weren't really gray. They were, off whitish, and with the light from their ship or whatever, they looked gray. But yeah, for months I kept telling my parents I keep seeing gray men in my window, and they want me to go with them and everything, and my parents just thought I was dreaming, whatever. And that went on for like months. I don't know how long it went on. I'd say 3-4 months.
After a while, did your parents, to this day, do they still discredit your story, or do they believe your story now?
No, my parents didn't believe me until one night my father woke up and seeing the ship right in front of the house with me waving back at him from inside. And within a blink of an eye, I was back in my room and ran out of my room, and my father came out, and I said, "Oh, you saw us? You saw the aliens?" And he's like, "Yeah, I believe you, But for the longest time, they wouldn't believe me,
So you were up in the spaceship, looking down upon your home, and you were waving to your father. As your father, was he waving back, or did
no? He was. He didn't. The only thing he could describe it as, he felt paralyzed. Like they woke him up just to prove to him, hey, your son's not lying.
Absolutely.
He tried waking my mom up, which was right next to him, and he couldn't move or nothing at all.
Yeah, a strange paralysis has been reported over and over here at Third Phase in regards to alien abductions. They feel that they can't move, they're paralyzed, and they're just basically, they could see and they could think, but their body is absolutely paralyzed. We're going to, Mark,
right.
stand by. We're going to just take a call here from, I'm not exactly sure, 989, welcome to Third Phase Moon. Do you have any questions for Third Phase or Mark in regards to his UFO and alien encounters?
You talking to me?
Yes, sir. Welcome to Third Phase.
Well, Mark, that same thing happened to me when I was younger, so I believe you. But here in the last year, I've had a dozen sightings. Beginning of the summer, a diamond shaped with a plasma in the center. I reported it to MUFON, who sent me a picture the very next day of exactly what I saw. So it was being seen other places. And
Can you tell us what country this was in?
This was in Michigan.
And about what time?
In the evening, about 8 o'clock the first time.
So you're saying that John provided you a picture of a sighting of the same object you saw that happened at the same time in, pretty much the same area?
At the same day in Tennessee.
Well, if anybody out there saw anything, can you tell us what date this was?
I'd have to look that up for you, and I just don't have it.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
We've had some video from Tennessee submitted to us at Third Phase. I can't actually recall what video. We have over 600, but yeah, there's some sightings coming out of Tennessee as well as all over the world.
I got a question for you, Blake.
Yeah, go for it.
Since there was about a dozen sightings, one time it was aggressive. One time I had a landing in the yard, witnessed by other people, that left marks in the ground. And I got a letter yesterday, and I want to know if you recognize the name. It's the John E. Mack Institute. They're doing a show called Experiencers. Have you heard of this?
The Johnny Mack Institute, we've been talking to national television in regards to all kinds of aspects, and, some things I really can't comment on. But as far as your experiences, show, there's many experiences throughout the world. I think, over 6 million possible abductees happen every year in the United States alone. So I'm sure networks are finally getting educated and smart enough to go after the stories.
It appears because the show's name is going to be Experiencers, and it's through the John E. Mack Institute, and it's going to be on television. And I just thought maybe you would recognize the people, the institute or something like that, kind of verify that they were on the up and up.
Well, I incline everybody to do their research first before submitting or speaking to people out there. At Third Phase of Moon, we're direct. We take people's submissions of UFO sightings, and we talk to every person that's submitted a video. So we have a pretty wide network. People trust Third Phase. Hey, Mark, you spoke last time about residual residue from the alien spacecraft and a dead tree in your area, Mark?
Yes. My name's not really Mark, but I go by it on this show. Yes, the tree that the ship was actually hovering over in front of my house is still there. There's no bark growing on. There's no bark on it anymore, and there's no moss growing on it. And that happened 33 years ago. That happened in 1980.
Mark, can you send us pictures here at Third Phase of the tree that you're talking about? We don't want to show exactly where you're at, but if you could get a picture of that tree and maybe we could take a look at it, that'd be great.
Well, I see that the tree that's dead it's dead on the ground. It's buried in snow right now. But there's the tree that is that was behind that tree that still has dead branches on it from the residual burn, Mark. I guess there could be samples. I know there could be definitely samples in that because that's untouched. But where the ones on the ground is and there's no bark on it, I don't know if they'd be able to get anything out of that one.
Well, it's an interesting case. We're going to take a call coming in from 818 wants to chime in here at Third Phase of Moon. Welcome.
Hey, Blake, how you doing?
Is this Dr. J. Andy Elias?
This is.
Oh, I'm doing great. Hey, welcome to the show. Hey, can you give on any insight? I remember, we had some comments basically about Mark that this was some kind of hoax, the 3-year-old abducted story, and maybe it was a hoaxer from the Art Bell famous Area 51 sequence that was on Coast to Coast with, I'm not exactly sure if it's George Norrie, one of the DJs. What do you think about that, John?
Honestly, Mark sounds genuine. It's definitely not him. I don't care what the people say. They actually accused me of being the same person who called in. That was ironic. Nonetheless, Mark's story is first of all, his voice is different than the guy. There's similarities, but that doesn't mean it's the same. And on top of that, Mark's story is very credible. There's a lot of people that back him. Mark, if I were you, I'd go seek some hypnotic regression if you're ready for it. Speak to one of the MUFON people near you, and definitely if you can get Blake the photographs.
I wanted to tell and ask Mark one simple question. Before you called in a couple weeks ago, have you ever spoken to Blake Cousins, made any contact to Third Phase of the Moon prior to that first call?
No, I haven't. This is the first time. See, the reason I called him was because I contacted MUFON myself, wanted them to have people come here and take tree samples. They wanted me to get the tree samples and send them to them, and I was adamant that I did not want to do that because I didn't want them to think that I tampered with them in any way. So I wanted them to be here in person when I went up to the tree to get the branches, because these branches are 80 feet off the ground. There's no way that I could go up there and tamper with them. And I wanted to get them down, cut the samples for them and give them to them, so they verify that I didn't tamper with them in any way,
Okay, John, you had a question for Mark?
Can you describe the occupants on the craft?
The occupants of the craft were just what everybody else normally sees, is the little gray men. I mean, they were, no taller than I was. They're, 3-4 feet tall, big heads, big eyes, and spoke telepathically.
How many of them were there?
I saw 3 of them.
Do you remember seeing a suit or anything on them, or what was their?
They had a gray suit, but it was kind of glittery,
shiny.
But it was the fabric, how it was stitched.
Did it look like shining on them?
It wasn't glitter, it was like a metal fabric. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain. It's like silky gray, dark gray, charcoal cloth. I've openly said it to everybody. I've said it all through my life, growing up, all through high school. Everybody I've mentioned it to everybody. I've never held back. I've been ridiculed. I've been called crazy. I've been called a nut. And I've lost a lot of friends because of it. But I'm still adamant till this day that what I saw is real, and there are people with higher intelligence out there that are way more intelligent and highly advanced than us. And for anybody to say that I'm crazy, and anyone else to say that they're crazy because of what they've seen or what they believe that they've seen, they're the ignorant ones to not realize that there's other intelligence besides us.
Well said there, Mark. Did you feel any kind of, I'm sure it was terrifying in the beginning.
Yes, it was, I never had a childhood because of that. It made me look at life a lot different, question beliefs, question religion. My grandfather was really religious, always wanted us to go to church and be baptized, and he never understood, that I meant that, who is God? They could be God. I believe in all beliefs, If it says in the Bible that God created man in his image, in our image, the gods created man in our image. And if you put all religions together, they all mean pretty much the same thing. So it's pretty much believe in what you want to believe.
We're going to take a call from area code 818 and welcome them to the show. This is Blake Cousins. Do you have anything you want to chime in on what you've heard so far, or have you had a UFO sighting yourself?
Oh, yeah. Hi, this is Jesse from North Hollywood. I actually had a question for your guest, Mark.
Yes.
Mark, what I seem to have noticed in a lot of these abduction cases is that abductions tend to occur along familial lines. Has anybody else in your family experienced any odd abduction type thing?
I don't know. If they have, they probably wouldn't have said anything. I don't know. I've never really asked any family members. I've never had any family members say anything about it.
Well, let me ask you this. This is probably a difficult question. I mean, do you have any kind of inkling why these beings would have chose you? Is there something special or something unique about you, or maybe when you were abducted, did they communicate any of those ideas to you?
Well, I'm not sure. See, I remember like playing with kids, but they weren't kids. So I mean, I know they looked like us, but they were different. You know what I mean?
They talked to you verbally, or was it telepathically?
They talked to me. Yeah, they talked to me verbally, but the Greys, they talked to me telepathically. If you were to plug your ears and talk, how you hear your voice inside in the center of your head in between your eardrums, but it's kind of muffled, well, it sounds just like that telepathically, but clear. Like that's what it'd sound like, them talking to you telepathically, but you'd hear it clear in your head.
Let me ask kind of a technical question about that. Did they have their own then tone of voice, or was it just kind of like a thought reaching you? Or could you distinguish maybe voice type?
They had their own voice. It was very almost calm and almost like they were a hypnosis. Because I've been around hypnosis people, and they talk very, very subtle and slow and steady words, and that's exactly how they talk to you. Very calm, collective. You know, we're not here to hurt you. It's okay. You know, we want you to go with us. You know, it was a voice speaking like that. Nice, clear, calm, you know, collected. It sounded like he knew what he had to say, and, you know.
Well, you explained it to us that you're waving at your father again, and at that point it sounds like you were kind of having a good time with the whole thing. And did you walk away afterwards?
I didn't have a problem with them until they started doing testing, and then, like, I started reneging on that.
Well, let's go into the testing. What did they try to do?
Well, they tried sticking me with stuff, and I won't let them do it. I was 3 years old, you know. Seeing little gray men looking in my window, and 1 second they're outside, and the next second they're inside my room. You know, I mean, what I remember, it looked like a Chinese chopstick that touched my head. But I guess now, seeing all these other UFO stuff, I guess it's some type of device that they use. But to me, I thought it was a chopstick.
You know, as a 3-year-old perception, you come up with weird analogies of what you're seeing. I could understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, I used to draw pictures when I was a little kid of them, you know, with a little chopstick, you know.
Do you still have these pictures?
No, I don't. No, I had them with a bunch of stuff, and unfortunately, an ex-girlfriend of mine kind of threw away a bunch of stuff. So.
You didn't believe your story?
No. It was just a bad breakup. I moved out, you know. I left my stuff there, went to go get it. Oh, I already threw it out, you know, type of deal.
Oh, one of those kind of girls, huh?
Yeah, one of them kind of girls, you know. We all get them. Like I said, when I called MUFON, told them that I wanted people to come here so I can get samples for them. And they said, well, we don't have anybody in this area, but if we can get somebody in this area, we'll give you a call and, you know, set up an appointment. Well, like 2-3 weeks later, here comes a black SUV with 5 antennas on it, and these 2 clean-cut guys look just like, you know, military men in black or whatever you want to call them. Supposedly they said they're from MUFON. If you've been around enough, you know, petty officers or sergeants or generals, it's how they stand. You automatically know that they're military, you know. And they right off the bat, they're like, oh, hi, we're from MUFON, you know, hey, where's this tree? you know, and I'm like, well, do you have a business card, you know, MUFON card? And they're like, oh, well, we don't have any. But, hey, where's this tree? You know, like, they were so animated
they wanted
to know where this tree was. You know, and that's when I was like, you know what? You need to get off my property. You know, so...
And they never came back?
Not that I know of.
It sounds like they wanted to eradicate the property. Let me ask you this. How many experiences have you had with the alien?
When I was 3 years old, I don't know.
If you had multiple experiences?
Probably every night for like 2, 3, 4 months. It was around the time when, like, you'd see Orion at this time of night.
So you've had 60 to 90 encounters at the age of 3, abductions, basically.
Yes, from the age of 3, yes. And then one sporadic, weird one when I was like 13.
Well, you had a pretty good sense of awareness at that point. Can you explain that one?
That was weird. I just remember, like, I was dreaming, running through the woods, and then I wake up, and I'm out in the woods, literally. Out in the woods over a mile from my house. No clothes on, nothing.
If you had a choice now, would you...
Like,
well,
I don't...
guess you're not into it because, they're going to, do their experiments. That's, unfortunate, right, John? Do you think every alien encounter is always, why can't it be like, ET phone home, friendly ETs? Unfortunately, it's not the real world, I guess, huh?
Well, yeah, I've been ridiculed about it all my life, and I'm at the point where I feel like I don't feel like I really belong here. I feel like I should go to another planet, you know what I mean? Because I treat people totally different than everybody else treats them. Like, if I had $1 in my pocket and someone needed $1, I'd give it to them, I'm a nice guy, like that. Like, I try and be passive, and be nice with everybody, no matter who they are, and people will just look at somebody just because, like, I have long hair. Just because I have long hair, people assume that I'm gay, or people assume that, I'm a druggie. You know what I mean? People judge people on how they look, and I don't do that to people, and it's just an accumulation of everything that I've dealt with in my life.
Well, you're acting as love thy neighbor, which is what the first caller said.
Yes,
that's the way
and I feel different. I feel totally different. I don't know if it's because of them, or if it's because
Mark,
dealt with diversity. I've dealt with people ridiculing me and stuff, so I try and be nicer to the people that have been ridiculed. You know what I mean? Because I know how they feel.
Empathize.
I empathize with them. I know how you feel to be, the outcast, the different person.
Mark, you should seek out some local UFO groups, but I wanted to ask you, when was your latest encounter, the last encounter? Because apparently from what other researchers are saying, they took you at 3, they took you at 13, which is consistent with what other researchers say. They take you as a baby, as a toddler, when you're in your mother's stomach, when you're a teenager, early teenager, then they take you again. That's probably when you were after puberty, I'm guessing, because that's when they first would take your first sperm.
Each time I've seen these over the past year, I'm a curious man. I should have stayed out there and gawked. I walked in the house like nothing happened and went to bed. It might have been 3 hours before bedtime. Just go in and go to bed and wake up in the morning like it never happened.
Yep.
What's
that sounds
that
like
about?
that sounds like the Allagash 5 when they were all out there camping and fishing, and they made a big bonfire. And they were out in the lake maybe half an hour, and the next thing they know, they're back on shore again. The fire's out, and they didn't want to discuss what they saw up in the sky. They didn't want to discuss why the fire went out so quick or nothing like that. They just wanted to go to bed.
Oh,
it sounds just like the same thing that happened to them.
a month ago, my wife was letting the dog out. There were 12 of them in the sky. Orange-yellow triangles. Down low. And we watched them for 2 minutes. And we went in and went to sleep. It's just not me. I would have wanted to stay out there and watch them until they were completely disappeared.
Hey, well, the show's pretty much going to be wrapping up in a few minutes, but I want everybody to get their last word in. The man that called in from North Hollywood, he asked a couple questions. Do you have one more question for Third Phase of Moon?
No, Blake, I think all my questions are pretty much answered, and I just wanted to thank you guys for just making the show possible and having an opportunity for these guests to come on, and then for just curious folks like me to call in and get some of my questions answered. So keep up the good work, guys.
Oh, wow, appreciate it. Cool. Hey, Mark, well, let's go to Bill from, where are you again, Bill? You should have a camera on you at all times, and, if you capture anything, you got to send it to Third Phase of Moon, right? I guess maybe they're back again. Mark, are you going to be, we have a feeling, me and Dr. Jandy Elias have a feeling that you may be visited again, and, just have your camera close to you if you have one. I know you say you're not you don't use a computer, but, cameras are cheap nowadays. Have one on you at all times. And, Mark, any last words for the people listening and the viewers on Third Phase of Moon?
I just want to thank you for being here. For people that want to speak about this, I'm up to speaking about it only because I'm at the point now where I have nothing to lose. It's at the point where there's more and more UFO stuff going out there. So I just want to put my 2 cents into it, and just have more people on the books that have been abducted, and hopefully the government will unplug everything and just admit that they what they're doing is wrong, shooting down UFOs and testing on them and everything else. Because I don't know about you, but I think that's a surefire way to keep all of us Americans as you're giving us more of a threat to deal with.
Absolutely. Hey, Mark, I really appreciate you calling back on Third Phase of Moon, and when the snow melts over there, get those pictures of that tree, get some close-ups, and we sure would like to see it, okay?
I would like that. If you can,
hey, Mark, stay on the line till after
you have
the show.
my home phone number. You have my number, right, on your little thing there?
Yes, I do. Let's get that down. We're not going to read it down, but it's right there.
Right. Yeah, just write down my number. And
okay, we got you, Mark. We got you. Hey, thanks a lot.
Because I'd rather keep off the internet,
Exactly. All right. Appreciate it, Mark. You keep in touch. We'll keep in touch.
Thank you.
Wow, Dr. Jandy Elias, we asked back a couple episodes, radio shows ago, if Mark could call back, and he did, and it was sure good to hear his side of the story. What do you say?
Oh, it absolutely was, Blake. I bet the fans were waiting for it. They were demanding it. They were asking for it, and we asked for it too, and he applied. He replied, and he had a good show, and I think today was a success, Blake. Keep up the hard work, and we all appreciate it, and obviously you could tell the fans are really appreciating it too.
Appreciate it, John. Yeah, the video, I think, over almost 250,000 views in a week. People wanted to hear Mark's story again and more detail. So, yeah, it's been awesome, and I look forward to your show and interview with Dr. Roger Lear. Tell our viewers what time it's playing again tomorrow.
That's right. It's Saturday tomorrow, which is March 30th, and it's going to be at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Dr. Roger Lear. We're going to be talking about abductions and, the implants and all the lab reports that have come from them. Blake Cousins will be joining us as well, right, at the end of the hour. And on top of that, don't forget April 11th, we have the primetime debut on freedomslipsagain.com, same radio station from 8 to 10 p.m. with Dr. David Jacobs, who's also going to be talking about abductions. So both of them will be a great shows.
Absolutely incredible. And we do have a possible lineup with Robert Schaefer, debunker, skeptic, against nuclear physicist Stanton T. Friedman in the future. Hey, thanks again, John.
Thank you, Blake. Anytime.
All right. This has been an amazing show. Again, both sides of the stories. People ask the questions, and there are answers to their questions. And if anybody out there has captured anything amazing in regards to UFOs, you could contact Third Phase of Moon via Skype or Facebook. My name's Blake Cousins. Keep your eyes on the skies, and we'll see you again next time.
Phase of Moon.